Alright, so we're given this situation. The emergency medical services team has brought a 54-year-old female patient to the emergency department where you're working. The EMS personnel state the patient was found wandering in a nearby park by a jogger who called 911 from her cell phone after the woman was screaming obscenities at her and then fell, seriously scraping her arm and her face. The woman is bleeding, disoriented, combative, and accusing the EMS of stealing her purse. Her hands are shaking severely, and she's shouting at the doctors and nurses that she needs a bottle. The woman's clothing is dirty, and you could smell stale body odor, and urine. I personally suspect that this patient is suffering from Alzheimer's disease or Lewy body dementia. Alzheimer's is known to be a progressive degenerative disorder of the brain, and the book states that the brain of a patient with Alzheimer's disease progressively atrophies and develops senile plaques. The disease is not fully understood, but appears to progress because of beta amyloid deposits in the neurotic plaques as well as arterial walls. The early signs of Alzheimer's may be simple as forgetting conversations or events that happened. Once the disease starts to progress, memory is slowly lost to the point where it's really hard to start to complete daily tasks because they can't remember what they're doing. There are medications that allow for the progression of the disease to slow down, but there are no cures for this disease. These medications allow for individuals to live individually or independently a little longer, and once it starts becoming really apparent to friends and family, that's when people start realizing that there's a bigger problem than just forgetting a couple things a day. Like I said, you may forget where you put your keys every now and then, but with Alzheimer's, it starts developing to every day. You start forgetting where you're putting things, and you start putting things where really they shouldn't go, like putting the keys in the fridge or putting orange juice in the cupboard, I guess. So another thing, once it starts progressing a little more, the individual with Alzheimer's starts to forget family members. They start to forget conversations, events, appointments. They start stating the same statement over and over, and they start asking questions constantly. Another thing that can change is that person's personality. They can become more apathetic, depressed, withdrawn, less social. They experience lots of mood swings. They begin to have delusions, such as the lady. They start accusing people of stealing things from them. They have a really hard time trusting anyone because they obviously don't remember. They lose inhibition and they become really, really irritable and aggressive. All of the patient's symptoms align with the symptoms of Alzheimer's. The shaking of the hands could be caused by the irritability and aggression. With Lewy body dementia, it also includes the Parkinsonian movements, so it looks like they have Parkinson's as well. All of the effects that come with Alzheimer's are long-term. There are no short-term effects. So, the long-term effects would include all of the things that I've already said, and just the main thing would be memory loss, confusion, loss of appetite, forgetting any task, like forgetting to go to the bathroom or forgetting to eat as well. Alzheimer's disease is the degeneration of the brain. This causes many symptoms that I have already touched, that I have already explained as well. This would occur when the part of the brain that controls emotions. So what causes her confusion and combativeness? Well, this would occur when the part of the brain that controls emotions starts to waste away. It's harder for the individual to control or understand their emotions and the situations that they're in. So the confusion is due to the fact that this 54-year-old woman is unable to recall or remember why she is where she is and why she's surrounded by everyone. She was experiencing delusions when she accused the EMS team of stealing her purse, which is another very common symptom linked to Alzheimer's and Lewy body dementia. What assessments do you think are needed for this patient? Well, there are many assessments that need to be done to confirm and validate the diagnosis of Alzheimer's disease. The doctor can do neurological and physical exams. They'll test the reflexes, coordination, balance, ability to get up from the chair, muscle tone and strength, and that's all part of the physical tests. There's also lab tests that can help rule out other potential causes to the memory loss, such as vitamin deficiencies or thyroid disorder. For the mental status, the doctor can conduct medical imaging such as MRIs and CTs, and those will help pinpoint abnormalities within the brain that can be seen through pictures such as strokes, tumors, trauma that has occurred to the brain that can be causing the memory loss as well. Other tests that are more geared toward Alzheimer's and dementia would include the fluorodeoxyglucose PET that shows the lack of poorly metabolized nutrients within the brain. The amyloid PET imaging measures the burden of amyloid deposits, and the tau PET imaging, which measures the neurofibrillary tingles in the brain. These three tests help distinguish whether the patient is experiencing Alzheimer's or dementia. So the research question is asking about mental illness management and the support of insurance throughout that. Mental illness doesn't seem to be a big problem. People don't see it as a big problem. It has this stigma, this negative stigma that follows it. But it is a problem, and we are currently, I think, more people are becoming aware of this. Insurance companies will most not likely not cover mental health services unless you carry a really high quality insurance. There was the Paul Wellstone and Pete Dominici Mental Health Parity of Addiction Equity Act that was passed in 2008. This law requires that if an insurance company provides mental health benefits, they have to be equal to the physical health benefits. So, but insurance companies aren't required to offer mental health benefits, and they can restrict the amount of covered visits, and they can specify certain physical and mental disorders or diseases that they don't want to cover. What can help with this? Well, I feel like making people aware of how real mental illness is, how easy it can be mistaken as something as simple as, just forgetting, or even depression, just mood swings. Thank you.